What are you talking about? What are you going on about? You are Sanford and Son. You are Sanford.
I'm gonna give you a knuckle sandwich.
I don't want to.
Come over here and give your old man a hug.
I don't want a knuckle sandwich. I don't even like this. Alrighty. So today there seems to be some new updates with the iOS 11 update that does UDID checks whenever it activates devices. So this UDID number is a calculation based off of the serial number, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth MAC address, and I would assume something else because there has to be a comparative number that they're checking against this. Maybe it's like the board revision, like the boards I believe have their own specific number, or maybe to see if the serial number has a match to a UDID on their systems. I'm not sure. So far what I have tested, we have any iPad after the iPad Mini 2 and the Air. If you've done a serial number change, it will not, you cannot update or, well, you can't restore the device to iOS 11. You can do an over-the-air update because the phone does not require activation. But if you try to do a restore, which we did with this iPad Mini 3, we've downgraded it since, but it was on iOS 11 this morning via a restore through iTunes, and activation fails every time. I also noticed on setup, there's a fan. That's probably what you're hearing. On setup, the device also didn't have Touch ID function. I don't know if that was just a coincidence or what. But when I restored back down to 10.3.3, Touch ID started working again and activation passes. So I can confirm for the iPads, at least on anything newer that gets the iOS 11 update, that it does not work if you do a restore. If you do an over-the-air update, it will update to iOS 11, but if you ever have any issues that require an iTunes restore, you're pretty much screwed. So I would recommend, if you do have a device like that you stay on iOS 10.3.3 if you don't want to risk having issues later. So let's our next test that we're doing, I have an iPhone 6s here that I purchased that was supposed to be non-blacklisted, and it wasn't when I purchased it, but the consumer evidently stopped paying on it or something, and my unlock did not go through. So this one will probably be used with one of the RSIM cards just to use it, but since it's here, it's going to be our guinea pig today. It's a 16 gig iPhone 6s T-Mobile rose gold. We're going to take a NAND. Mic is still I unplugged the mic. Here we go.
Okay,
Is it any better? Here. So is it any better? Any worse?
Apple Watches, no. No, the risk on it's way too high. I mean, if we damage something, then that's quite a bit of money. No problem, man. Bye.
All right, so what I was saying, I don't know if the microphone's better or not. You all have to just tell me. If there's still static, I can unplug it and plug it back in again, I guess. You can hear that weird fella. What are you talking about? Can somebody in chat confirm if the microphone's good or not?
You know your mic's good.
Okay, audio's fine. Cool. Alright, so the like I was saying, the iPad minis have issues. If they are iPad mini 2 or newer or iPad Air or newer, you can do over-the-air update to iOS 11, but you cannot do a restore on them in iOS 11. They will not activate. The other issue was when I updated the iPad mini 3 to iOS 11. Even though it wouldn't activate, it also said that the well, if the sound's clipping, then it's gonna clip. I can't fucking do anything about it. If the for some reason on iOS 11 the Touch ID wouldn't activate on the iPad mini 3 with the custom serial number, so that may be a secondary effect of this. I can confirm if you downgraded 10.3.3, it does work again. Then the Touch ID started working again, so I assumed that it had to do something with software. So with this one, we're taking an iPhone 6s that is a 16 gig, no iCloud, there's nothing on it. It activates, it works fine, other than the services blacklisted on it. And we're going to take the NAND off of it, which I've already done. It's right here. It's a 16 gig NAND, and I have a 64 gig NAND off a different phone that we're going to take the information and write it from this NAND to the other, and I'm going to compare the UDID number and all the other information to see if anything changes. Once we do that, I'm going to try a restore and see what happens. If that fails, we will grab a 16 gig NAND off a different phone, and we will write it to the same information, same serial and everything, and we will attempt to see if it'll restore with the same size NAND, just from a different phone. So we'll see if it's doing actual hardware checks to see if the hardware itself is the same or what exactly it's checking. I want to put up on the second screen here. Let's see if I can get it up here. Evidently it's not working. Let's add the second display capture. Okay. I'll resize this. And then we'll drag it below the overlay. Alrighty. So on the secondary display here, I'm going to show, we're going to pull up the information that I've already saved from the old NAND. So this is the original information that was saved off of the NAND. This shows before I pulled the NAND activation, it was activated. This shows our Bluetooth MAC address, shows our Wi-Fi MAC address, it shows our board ID numbers, serial number, the IMEI information, what iOS it was on. It was on 10.3.2. Pretty much all the information there for the NAND. So now we're going to go ahead and read this NAND to get the information off of it. What's up, Freddie? Is that the unit that was defective and was sent back? No. The unit that was sent back was for the Dedi Prog. Alright, so as we can see here, this is a 16 gig NAND. So it reads properly. We'll go ahead and read the information off of it. Alright, so there's our serial number. We'll confirm that these do match so that people can't be like, well, that's not the same one, blah, blah, blah. Alright, so we don't want the MLB serial. That's the motherboard. Let's see. It should be, so the MLB number actually does match if you look at them here. C7K62, C7K62, 8608Q4, G2. You can see that those are an exact match. If we go here, let's see. I don't know if it gives me that serial number or not. FF. Let's see if it gives that or not. I guess it doesn't read the actual serial number from the NAND. But anyway, it should be the same. We can compare the Bluetooth MAC address there. 8C, 8E, F2, CD, FD34, which is exactly what we have here. So they're the same chip. So now that we've read that, we're going to go ahead and save it so we don't lose that information. The 12-step program for no Chris Long for 2 days. Alright, so we'll go ahead and save that information here with the original NAND. Alright, that is saved. I'm going to open this up, take out our 16 gig NAND, place our 64 gig NAND in. Alright, now it'll read that chip. And this should come up as a 64 gig as it did. Here's the NAND size right here. I'm not going to touch the MAC address or the Bluetooth because we know the Wi-Fi is working. I'm going to go ahead and reload that file just to make sure that it's correct. So we're going to reload that information. Okay, and then I'm going to click write just to confirm that it has written to the NAND. Write system configuration is complete. So that means all that information should now be there. So if we click read, we'll click read here, and it should update. Let's see if we can click, I want to clear off the information that's here so we can re-see the... Okay, we don't want to do that. Let me close out the program and then reopen it. That way we can get a fresh read on this NAND to confirm that the information is there. For some reason, after the update, it doesn't want to fucking read properly or open the program properly. Let's unpin that one and pin that one. And it's still doing it. Why are you fucking doing that? We'll just open it from the location. And it's doing it again. Why are you doing this, program? So for some reason the program is having a conniption fit. Let me rerun it from the save folder here. Just today, for some reason, this program started having issues. So we'll go back in and we'll reinstall it again. Even though it worked one time, I don't know why it doesn't work another time.
Hey there. Hello. Can I help you?
Yeah, I've got an iPhone. I would like to get somebody to take a look at it.
Okay. What's up with it?
It just says searching. I'm just looking by the AT&T store, and they gave me a new SIM card, and it doesn't work.
So it's 6 or 6 plus?
It's a 5S.
Oh, it's a 5S.
Or no, wait, it's just a 5. Is it an SE or it's just got the circular?
It's a 5. I mean, we can look at it. Has it had any liquid damage or anything?
No.
Okay.
Not of recent. I mean, it just quit this morning, really.
But it has been water damaged before?
I've had that phone for I mean, I would say to some extent it's had some
Okay.
damage.
The 5s is just not as common to see that issue with them. The 6 series has a lot of problems with it, but
If I can get you to fill out this paperwork, or is this your only phone?
Yeah.
Because we would have to open it up and take a look at it. It'd probably take a little bit.
Well, I mean, I know it's form of communication regardless, so.
I mean, we can just give you a time frame to
Yeah.
come back and check. That's about all we can do.
If you want to come back by maybe 3-4 hours, we can probably take a look at it by then.
I don't have that much time.
You don't
I'm
have
just
that much
gonna go
time?
buy a flip phone, I
Okay.
guess.
Alright.
Sorry about that.
No, it's alright. I'm gonna go buy a flip phone, that's what I'm gonna do. But, I guess I'll bring it back next week. Maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll
Sounds
take a
good.
look at it.
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
take a look at it.
And I think it was Josh was his name, the AT&T store, he sent me down here.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, if you see him again, tell him thank you.
Yeah, yeah, I will. I guess I will go see him.
Tell him to hook you up on a phone out there. Tell him don't be too rough on you.
Alright. I'll let him know. What's your name?
It's Chris.
Chris.
Mhm.
I'm Micah.
Micah.
Mm-hmm.
Micah and Chris. I'll
Yep.
follow
Have a good one.
him. Alright, thanks guys.
No problem.
No problem.
Alright, so going through here, this is the information that's written back to the NAND. We'll confirm that it is the same. C7K6286, C7K. Okay, so there might be a difference. Hold on. Nope, it's the same. C7K6286, 08Q4G2
Yes, we do.
KMAW. So that matches. The Bluetooth MAC address here matches. So all our information should be the same as far as what's written on the NAND.
Not a problem.
So now we will check this and see what's going on. Need to reball this NAND now and put it on the phone and see what our results are. Hopefully we reball and put it on the first time, no problems. I need to keep rewriting on this NAND because it keeps disappearing. Need a paint marker. Let's see. If anybody has a iPhone 6 or 6 Plus series, ones that the Navi Plus can repair the NAND whenever they have errors, if you feel up to it and you want to make a video to help out, or even just do the testing and see what you find yourself, I'm going to look for an iPhone 6 that we have here that works. Even if it's iCloud locked, I'm not too worried about that, just as the activation occurs before the iCloud checks anyway. So I'm going to try the NAND repair through the Navi Plus, which is erasing and rewriting the partitions for the hard drive, and I want to see if those will still work. I would assume they would because the NAND itself is not changing, but I would like to confirm that. You saw a video earlier about iOS 11, Wayne. Which one was it? And what were they doing? If you want to link that video, if it's useful information, have at it. I don't know if you can post it or not. If not, you can just leave out the .coms or something and just post up the end of the link or something for YouTube or whatever it is. Alright, so we got our NAND cleaned off here, and now we're going to throw our stencil on it. Just clean this up. My permanent marker is coming off again. Alright, so that NAND is clean. iPhone 5 power flex jobs would be the death of you. Miles, if the actual button is just not working, you can replace just the little membrane on top of it. You don't have to replace the whole cable. Now, if the cable's fucked, then kind of SOL, but we replace the membrane on the end of the cable if it's still working. Every time I hear something slide up here, I feel like I'm gonna die.
Avalanche.
Yeah, pretty much avalanche. Let me find my stencil. I've been visiting the Apple support forum lately just to see what it's all about, and holy fuck. I've never seen a group of people that are so, like, it just seems like they're angry. Like, if you suggest anything but Apple, like, you get this just visceral angry response from them, and it's really kind of crazy how mad and angry if you suggest anything for a customer that has no option through Apple other than just replacing their phone for $300. If you offer them anything that might help save them some money, it's considered,
or actually get their fucking data.
or yeah, get their data. It's considered
it's frowned upon.
well, it's frowned upon, but it's, I forget how they phrase it. It's
what they call third party. What was the term they used?
Nefarious.
Nefarious.
Yeah, they said that third-party companies get data off phones through nefarious means. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Nefarious means.
On the black market.
Like, what are we doing? Like, doing some back alley shit to get your data off? Like, if the FBI can't do it, how do you think that we're doing it? The Apple site, the sad thing about the Apple site is it's not even Apple employees. These are just fanboys that moderate the fucking chat.
Yeah, I mean, really, what was their concern?
I mean, literally that forum could not exist, and they could just put an FAQ with a intelligent search option on it.
Yeah.
That's it. They don't need that forum at all. They could just, if they're literally just going to post links to go here to restore your phone, go here to check warranty, go here to do this, just put an FAQ and get rid of the fucking chat altogether.
They got something that they actually give someone else to talk to, which people like to do.
Yeah, but if that person you're talking to is just going to give you bullshit.
Free labor.
Yeah.
They got free labor.
It's just funny to me.
Volunteer labor. And then they get some kind of ego boost and like,
but
yeah, I'm a mod on the Apple support forums.
It's just funny to me how condescending they are and how backhanded they make like little stabs and comments at people. But then the exact rules of the Apple community are not to be like harassing or anything like that.
I wonder how long it takes to become a mod on there. I'm gonna go on there.
All you have to do is just say go to Apple. Go to Apple.
Yeah,
is your phone broken? Go to Apple.
I'm gonna make a,
is your phone not turning on? Go to Apple.
Get a big list of like links and stuff all filled out.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. That's literally all they do. They copy and paste links all day.
No, I'll infiltrate and move my way up until I can become a mod then and tell people the real shit. And then they'll ban me.
Like, I can understand Apple's not going to put a community forum up and then advertise you go somewhere else. They want to make money, but when it's solutions, like one guy was asking, I have a 6S that I want data off of and I didn't back it up. What can I do? They're like, you can't do anything, you didn't back it up. Why not suggest that they have options to go and do something instead of telling them that they have no option? Yeah, but sometimes you don't think about it.
I know, but you don't think about it and stuff, and people don't think about it. But I mean, really, a lot of time and effort could be saved if people would actually just back up their stuff.
I agree, but at the same time, iCloud's not really a reasonable way to back up your device.
No, it's not. No.
Because it's limited in storage.
Yeah. No, it's not.
And then they just make you pay for storage, which is, I mean, obviously the gimmick.
They got
that they
money
want.
to have servers, and I guess they do.
It does take money.
It does take money to upkeep servers and stuff, and they do have a huge.
It's just shit to me that they offer no option other than that.
Yeah.
There was a guy that posted this morning. He said, "I have a 5S. The power button doesn't work," and they're like, "Go to the Apple support, or go to a Genius Bar I was like, that's not, all they're gonna do is offer you a new phone. That's not fixing it. He's like, if you're gonna go anywhere, you should only go to authorized Apple repair stores. I was like, they don't repair it. They just swap it out. The only thing they repair is fucking screens and batteries. They don't repair anything else. That's like going to the dealership, like, we can change your tires and oil, but if you need anything else, we're just gonna replace your car and you have to pay us money. Sir, your AC compressor stopped working. We're gonna have to sell you a out of warranty exchange Camry. Like, give me a fucking break.
Give me a fucking break.
It really is crazy how brainwashed the mods are. And the sad thing is they're Apple users, so it shows you a lot of what the user base is being predisposed to.
We're here till 7. Okay. Alright, bye.
Nah, fuck me. I mean, I'll be the first person to tell somebody, hey, they come in, they're like, hey, my phone's not working. I'm like, well, do you have Apple warranty? How old's your phone? And they say, yeah, I've got warranty. Go to fucking Apple. I'm not even going to touch it. Like, there's no point in it. If there's no data you need on it and it's a severe repair and it's something that's going to cost you about the same money, I will tell them to go to Apple. Because there's no sense in me taking on that responsibility for something when they can get a new phone. Now, if they want data or if it's something that they can easily get fixed for far cheaper than going to Apple and getting a device replacement, sure. If they don't want to drive down to Nashville and spend an hour to go talk to somebody and I have an option for them, I'll do it. But if it's something severe, I always tell people, just take your phone to Apple. If you have a warranty, go get it replaced. I mean, when the iPhone 8 comes out, I'm sure screens will be expensive for a little while. I will tell people, if we can't refurbish it, if it's something that's severely broken, go to Apple. I have no problem in trying to save the customer money. And that's what's the scary thing about the Apple forums. In my situation, I don't care to refer people somewhere else if it'll save them money or make things more convenient, or even for data purposes. That's the main thing that you don't see. Apple won't ever do anything with data, which is fine. I understand as a large company that is a responsibility that they don't want to have to handle. But to sit there and say, if you try to get your data off, Apple's going to disown you pretty much, and threatening people that way in the forums, it's ridiculous. Like, they literally use scare tactics to try to get people to avoid going anywhere but Apple. Like, one guy was talking to me and he said, I've seen multiple posts about users going to third-party repair shops and their phones stop working a week later. And I was like, okay. I was like, I've heard people that go to Apple and their phones don't fucking work at all. So, what's your point? Like, okay. What's the secret about iCloud unlocking the A8 CPU? I haven't heard of this. Although it seems like it may not matter.
Help you.
Depending on how they're doing checks now, it may not make a difference. God, my fucking tweezers are sticking to everything right now. Oh my god, IRS and back taxes. Do they want me to pay with Kmart gift cards? I'll definitely pay with Kmart gift cards. Oh yeah, Tim. I mean, with computers, it's ridiculous. Like, and the crazy thing is these people portray Apple employees at the Genius Bar. The labeling is awesome by labeling them geniuses, but the fact that they tell people go see the professional technician at the Genius Bar, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, these are the same fucking people that could be working at McDonald's. Like, you don't have to have special knowledge to do this job. You go through training courses, of course, but that doesn't make you like some qualified technician. There are some people probably that work at Apple that would be great technicians, but it doesn't mean that automatically if you're an Apple genius that somehow you have all this extensive diagnostic knowledge and you know exactly how to diagnose a customer's issues. Oh yeah, they're definitely a marketing company. That's all they are. I mean, they used to be very good at innovation. Steve Jobs was very good at what he did. And the marketing was a big plus with that. But now, they aren't very innovative when it comes to their devices anymore. At least not of recently. Like I said before, the only thing that impressed me from the Apple keynote speech was that they added the 3G option, or the cellular option to the watches, but reportedly the battery life is absolute shit on it. So I think it's good that they added the cellular support. I think that should have been an option from the beginning. But if the cell signal runs the battery down so much, what's the point? NAND reballing is a serious pain in the ass. Yeah, it can be a little bit. Especially when the stencil raises up like it is right now. There we go. I don't know what you're talking about with the iCloud unlock stuff for the A8 CPU. So, no, I haven't tried it. If I knew what it was, sure, I'd give it a shot. If you have any links or a Google suggestion, I'll be happy to look at. Alright, so NAND is reballed. All those are formed. Let's let it cool for a second, then we're going to clean it up. And we'll put it on the phone and restore it and see what happens. Does the air come out in pulses or steady stream? No, it's a steady stream. Just as dental bit unlock is a certified way? No, it is not. That was an odd noise from Micah. Pulses.
What was it? Pulses. BNC, I may help you.
Alright, so let's see.
That takes about.
That reballing looks nice and even down the chip. That's what we're looking for. You want the reball to be even.
We're open at we're closed here at the shop.
Okay, so we'll get our board back over here.
Okay.
Put our chips down. We'll put down some flux.
No. Okay, sounds good. Now it's on right.
Okay, we got flux down. Let's align our chip like so. I'm going to press down so I can feel where the pad should approximately be. You can kind of feel the pads on the board. You want it fairly close. That way when this melts, it doesn't have very far to go. Alright, let's crank our heat back up and let's put this NAND on. The reballing size on this NAND does allow me to tap on it without worry of bridging, which I do like, because sometimes the surface tension of the solder, there can be a slight oxidation layer between the pad and the ball, so that tap will tend to break it. I don't like mash down on it, but I do give it a slight tap on top, just to make sure that it's seated where it should be. As we see the flux start to boil out, that's when the chip will settle. Alright, starting to boil some. The chip should settle here shortly. There it goes. It just moved. Let's see if it moves back. Yep, it moved back. Okay, so I'm going to tap on it lightly on top. Alright, that should be on there good. Falcon punch in the NAND when it's hot. What possible reason does Apple have to do with this? Well, NAND upgrade sizes, which takes money out of their pocket. Restoring of like iPads and iPods, Wi-Fi devices with custom serials allow the devices to work again, so Apple can't reclaim them to resell a new iPad, so they lose money. It's all money based. That if they weren't losing money on it, they wouldn't give a shit. That's my patented cooling method. Yeah, I call this Micah's mom. Blowing the board.
Your mom blows on my board. Looks so good.
Anything where they lose money. Is this an Air 9 thing? No, this is just me. This is me fucking around and seeing if I can make this phone not work again. So wrong, but you laughed. I know you did, Paul.
What's wrong? Me, your mom blowing on me? Does it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it comes down to. Repair industry means that Apple's not getting their phones back, which means they're not making money on selling a new phone or not being able to refurb and resell a phone. So if you go in with a phone problem that can be solved by third-party companies, such as a power button, Apple can say, we cannot replace the power button. It is part of the frame. So what they will do is take your phone. They will give you another phone. They will take your phone and send it back to their refurbishing company, either in, I believe it's Texas or in China. Depends on which one they send it to. Once they send it back, they will replace that power button. They will send it back out and sell it to somebody else for $300.
Is that what Apple actually says, that the power button's part of the frame?
They make up bullshit all the time. That one lady, Jessica called and somebody told her that the charging port was soldered to the board, couldn't be replaced. Soldered to the board, can't replace it.
Can't replace it.
Chris Lawn. Alright, so let me grab the frame for this thing. Let's see if we have screwed this phone or not. Alright, our beautiful rose gold frame here. Chris, does Apple do in-house board repair on iPhones? I know they do on MacBooks on some basis. Yeah, well, I think they have a third-party company that they employ that does most of the repairs in China, from my understanding. I know that they have a facility now in the US, I believe, that does iPhone refurbishments, but I don't know to what level. So we got everything hooked up. We should be directly in DFU mode when I hook this up. are in DFU mode. Alright, so we're going to close that down. I'm going to open iTunes up. I'm going to do this through iTunes so we can see, and then I'll open it in 3U Tools afterwards. President Trump was bragging about it. Big shocker, right? Actually, 3U is currently keeping iTunes closed, so we need to close out of 3U first. So 3U is now closed. Now we should be able to open iTunes. Trump bragged about bringing companies back to the U.S. that had already said they were going to bring companies back to the U.S. the year prior. So, whatever. Alright, so iPhone 6s is discovered in recovery. Let me show that for you all. So there we go, iPhone 6s. Since we're in DFU mode, it won't show the serial number right now. We're going to click OK. Hopefully I have the firmware downloaded. Yay, I do. Cool. So this is iOS 11 firmware. We will restore and see if it'll restore first. That'll be the big thing. 4-year warranty on the iPhone 8 in Australia. God damn. It's very Tuesday. Mark is letting everybody know that's very Tuesday. Corsair Dual Force Pro? No. They make rugged phones, from what I understand. It's supposed to be, I think most of their phones are waterproof. Or water resistant. Should we pull that, or do a backup on that?
Not yet.
7?
I'll start on it. I was getting ready to put this on.
Cut you some slack, you're using a MacBook? Then we can't cut you any slack if you're using a MacBook. Macs are superior products, remember? We had a 2012 MacBook that we replaced with an original Apple part directly from the Apple store. Don't tell anybody. We replaced the hard drive cable in it last year. And sure enough, this year it came in a year later exactly. Which I think is the warranty period on those cables. And the cable was bad again. So we replaced it with another original Apple part from the Apple store across the street.
How does a cable go bad?
I don't know how a cable goes bad. It's got to be vibration. Alright, here we go. Will it restore? It's making all the right noises so far. Should disconnect again. We have Apple logo. Alright, now it should do the restore portion. We do have the loading bar. Let's see if it starts restoring or if it gives us an error. If it gives us an error right now, it's going to be because of my soldering. The activation error doesn't occur until the phone is being set up.
Backing up?
The bar hasn't started yet. Verifying iPhone restore. Get to restoring iPhone. Come on. This part always makes me nervous. Oh, there it goes. We got it started restore. I don't know why I get nervous at this point, but I know the NAND should be soldered well, but sometimes there's just weird things. Like I've had some that will error out, like they won't restore. They just kind of boot loop right at the very beginning on the initial part, and I picked the NAND off the board and then just literally reset it back down and resolder it, and it'll work. So I don't know why that happens sometimes. They made their products and cables from the finest Chinesium. That's the greatest thing that I love about Apple. Like, especially on the support forums, they're like, these are not Apple authorized parts. And I'm thinking here, they're rip-off, copy, or stolen items made in China. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, Apple makes all their shit in China. Like, that's not an insult. You can't sit there and say these things are copies from China when you buy your own fucking parts from
all
China.
Your shit's made in China. Designed in
Not
the
as
US.
rare as unobtainium. This is true.
Designed in the U.S., made, manufactured in China. That's how everything is done.
It might bitch because I don't have the home button attached. Especially on startup. We have the original home button, I don't have the backing plate and stuff to put it all on the screen. Thank you, Greg. So far we're creeping along. We're about, let's see if I can get this closer. My plastic here has all these air bubbles in it, so it's hard to see it. There we go. We're about a fifth of the way done. Yep, Wayne, exactly. They do all this stuff for the sole purpose of making more money and telling the customer, fuck you. I mean, it's crazy to me, like, at what point do you own your device and you can do whatever you want with it? Like, get it repaired. Like, legally, I don't see why this doesn't step into some type of illegal content on Apple's part. Like, if you have a NAND replaced because the NAND is bad, it should not keep your car from moving, or your phone. Like, a part on a car being bad. Like, sorry, segue was there. If a part on my car goes faulty, if a head on the motor lifts and I need a new head put on the engine, it should not stop my car from working anymore. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And at what point do... Like, as repair people, we understand and we see the problems that are there, but when does the general consumer see the problem? Like, when does that become an issue? I just don't understand, like... And I think for the general user, they take Apple's word at it, and that's all you have. Like, I've literally had people come in here and they'll tell me, well, Apple said you can't fix this. And I'm like, yeah, you can. You can fix that. The one example I used, a lady came to me after she went to Apple with an iPhone 6s. She said, I can hear my phone turning on. I can plug it into the computer and see it. But Apple said that my phone needs to be replaced because it has a problem with the screen. And they said they'll do a screen replacement for me, but if that doesn't fix it, I'll have to pay $300 for a new phone. And I was like, this isn't a screen issue. I tested your screen on another phone. That was easy to do. Literally, take the screen, plug it in, and you can tell if it's a screen problem. She had a backlight problem on her iPhone 6s. I don't know why it happened, but for some reason the filter failed on it. I replaced the filter, backlight was working again. There was no liquid damage in it, nothing. And her phone was working perfectly fine. And Apple's sitting here telling her that this can't be fixed. And she was like, well, I had a friend suggest that I come see you because possibly you could do something, but Apple told me it wasn't repairable unless I replaced the phone if a screen didn't fix it. And I was like, okay. I was like, it's just plain lying to you, period. It's a bald-faced lie. They can easily test and see if it's a screen problem. They still haven't even admitted that the Touch IC problem is their fault. I was on the forum, somebody had a 6 Plus on there complaining of flickering bar at the top. And somebody said this is a design fault of Apple. Like one of the regular people, not even a repair tech. They're like, this is a design fault, and one of the Apple guys is like, no, it's not Apple's design fault. They're not going to cover the warranty if customers go out and drop and throw their phones on the ground. I was like, that's fucking bullshit. I was like, why is it every model before the 6 series and every model after the 6 series doesn't have this issue, but the 6S or the 6 and 6 Plus have this rampant issue? And then why did they completely redesign the 6S after the 6 series if they didn't know it was a design flaw? Like, why did Apple completely change the frame to a stronger aluminum? Why did they move the touch ICs from the board to the screen? Like, they knew it was a problem. They're not stupid. Apple said the reason that all third-party repairs are so salty is because they have all these scams to run and no schematics or OEM parts. That's what I don't get. Like, well, I do get it, but I don't get it. If their excuse is that third-party has no official parts, then why won't Apple sell us official parts? Like, you make money off of it. In the early days of electronics, if a company made a product and then you had a problem, you could call them and buy the part from them and replace it.
You still can with some.
Yeah, some companies you can.
Just not phones, really. Except for Samsung. I mean, it looks like you can.
Yeah, you can buy the repair kits. Well, I mean, jerry-rig everything. Yeah, well, it wasn't his iPhone 8 review. Did you see his V30 review? LG invited him out to tear the phone down. Like, he ripped the camera apart in it to show the optical lenses inside the camera. Like, you don't see that with a lot of companies now. Like, they don't want you to tear the product down. They don't want you to fix it. I would too, Alex. If Apple came out today and said, we're selling OEM screens or $90 for iPhone 6, I'd be like, I'll fucking buy them. I'll charge the customer a little more just to carry a completely 100% authentic product. If they're like, our charge cables are $25, you got it. Charging cable, $25. Here's my money. Do I get to put a sign out front that says authorized parts used here? Because if I do, my customer influx will pay for that difference. Alright, so the battery on this one is dead. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the charged battery so we can go ahead and get this show on the road. I should have done that beforehand because I knew the battery was dead. That way it would have booted right up so we could keep on going. But here we go, charged battery. Let's get the booting. I buy only refurbished screens just because it is original Apple equipment. It's just new glass. The glass that is put on ours, I know the refurbisher personally. I've gone over to a shop and taken a steel ball, a ball bearing, and dropped it on the glass, and it doesn't break it. So it's pretty good glass. You can bend the crap out of it. It's crazy how much it'll bend.
I'm scared about putting this in a vacuum seal.
Why? Oh, because the crack?
Crack.
Then don't do it. Just put clamps on it, heat it up.
That's what I'm going to do. Well, it's in a case. You just want to throw it in the case?
Heat it up first and then put it in the case.
Okay.
I agree. I think it's dumb. If this phone doesn't activate, there's some serious problems. We'll see here in a second if it activates or not. iTunes is up right now. If we're going to have activation issues, it'll tell us now. It should do it right here. This is where it activates. We'll get an error. It's like EX8 something. Nope. It didn't do it. So it's asking for the SIM card. Let's see if it requires a SIM card for activation. This is a T-Mobile phone. I don't know if I have a T-Mobile SIM. That's the problem. We might have a hiccup in our giddy up. Well, it went into the screen. Let me see if... Alright, so there's the IMEI information again. I don't have a home button. That's the only problem. I don't know how I can get past this without the home button. I might have to hook up a home button. Let's see if it'll even try to activate on any SIM I put in there. I don't think I have a T-Mobile one. I might have to get one. Do you have the SIM tray for this one, Micah?
For which one?
The rose gold.
Yeah.
I may need the home button too, just to get past this.
Oh, there.
Oh.
Great. Drop.
Alright, so let's see what it does. If it'll even talk to the activation servers, I'll have a little more faith in it. Let's see what it does on iTunes. This is gonna be the wrong SIM card, so it should say that. Yeah, phone does not. SIM card is not supported in this phone. Okay. I do have. Can you activate with the RSIM, or does it have to be activated already? I'm gonna check these other phones that I have here and see if any of them have a 6S or a T-Mobile SIM in them. But I don't think they do. You can activate with the RSIM, even if it's a non-supported. Alright, so let's eject the SIM tray here. I've got an RSIM here. Okay, let's make sure it reads it first. Okay, it read the SIM. Let's put it back in and see what it does. We'll find out in a second if it works or not. It's doing something. I don't know what it's doing. Oh, yep, it worked. So let's set up as a new phone. Continue. Get started. There you go. Looky there. So it activated. It's now a 64 gig NAND. Let me see if I can get it through the setup screen somehow. We now have an ICC ID also on the phone.
Was that going to 11?
Yeah, this is iOS 11 with a NAND upgrade.
Woo!
Alright, so let me turn this off real quick and put a home button on it so I can get past the setup screen. And then we'll see if this shows up in 3U tools, and we'll compare all the information. I can plug the fucking screen in, or the home button in. There we go. Alright, so let's put our battery back in. Thank you. I'm glad that was successful. Well, so far successful. I want to make sure that this shows up again in 3U tools and we can read all the information off of it. I'm also going to eject the SIM. I wonder, I don't think that would have anything to do with it. It almost makes me wonder if maybe the phones with an RSIM might activate regardless. I wish I had an original SIM so I could restore it and try it again. Or a T-Mobile SIM. Yes, I copied the serial like all the important serial information and stuff from the old NAND to the new NAND, which is what you would normally do otherwise. So I'm going to hit the home button, set up manually. Wi-Fi is going to suck because I don't have the antennas hooked up. Well, there's my 5 gigahertz band. Let's see here. Alright, so let's see if it'll connect to the 5G, even though it's weak as shit. Okay, so Touch ID failed there. That's interesting. That is the original home button, I know it is. Set up as new phone. Oops, wrong button. Don't have an ID or forgot it. Come on, phone. What are we doing? Oh, it's thinking about it. Didn't notice the spinning wheel on the top. Probably due to the Wi-Fi connection being weak. What do you mean, Greg? So there's info that you did not copy over that was preventing activation on old NAND? No, the activation doesn't work on iPads that have the serial numbers changed. Come on, Wi-Fi. Let me get past this point. I might have to connect the antenna up here. Actually, the bottom antenna might help. The top antenna is a plastic piece that sits over it. We'll try sitting one in there and seeing. You said it's not the right one, it's a regular 6. We're going to sit here at the Apple ID section for a while, evidently. When you restore without the home button, some Touch ID fail? Okay, that makes sense. There we go. iPad serial number changes. If you update to iOS 11 via restore, they will not work. If you use the over-the-air update, it does work. If you use the restore, it does not work. Alright, so we're into the phone. As you can see, we are on iOS 11. Now we will do a 3U tools comparative and make sure that all our serial information matches so that you know I'm not fucking with you. Because I'm sure somebody out there will be like, you switched the phone. So 3U is now open. C drive is almost full. Thanks. I have to delete shit. Alright, so let's do a comparative here. We're going to view device info. And we're going to click open in Notepad. And then we're going to set these side by side here so we can see. So going down the list, activated, activated. True, V2, 3840149528, 3840149528. Baseband certification ID number is the same. The baseband master hash is the same. The baseband version is updated now. The Bluetooth address, though, is the same. Board ID is 4. The build number changed. That's for the software. The cert ID number is the same. The class number is the same. The die ID is the same. The Wi-Fi MAC address is the same. Let's see. Hardware models are the same. Hardware platforms are the same. I'm not sure what the GID is. That's new information that it's brought up. Maybe that has to do with iOS 11.
Right next to, well, just 3 doors up from Mickey's on
So this gives a lot more information now with iOS 11.
Physically, or is it running slow? Okay. Usually cleanup we charge about $45.
Showing a phone number. That may be because the SIM card's in it. What would it cost you for me to stream all day? Nothing. A lot of the times we do, what's diffchecker.com? Is this going to be a big giant penis?
It probably is a big giant penis, Chris. Alright, this is done.
Oh, it just does text comparison? Okay, we can do that. So it looks like with the SIM card entered, it does give you more information. Unlike the... So there's the original text. I don't know why I did that when I can do select all. There's a new check. Alright, let's see. What are the differences? So the baseband version changed. We knew that. Build version changed. We knew that. iPhone name changed. No big deal. The firmware changed. Let's see what else. Product version changed. We've got more sections. Those all look like they have to do with the SIM card. The SIM status changed, obviously, because we put the SIM in. Time interval changed because it's a different time. Everything else seems to be pretty much identical. So... Any idea about 4G plus Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi iCloud bypass? Like I said, if you take a device to Wi-Fi only, it will only work on version 10.3.3. If you go to iOS 11, if it is an available update to iOS 11, it will not work. It will not activate. Let's see. Verified UFID. I don't know if I saved the old UFID. I thought it would be in the device information, but I guess it isn't. Oh yeah, it is. It's right there. So that should be... What's the number there? 16.4. Huh. For some reason it doesn't show the UDID when you open it in Notepad. Well, shit. I wish I had written that down to see if it changed. Well, damn it. Oh, there it is. It's right there. So we can open our old one and check it. Okay, this is the original information. Yep, so it's exactly the same. So the UDID doesn't change with the NAND size change. So that was the main concern. So the main issue was if we take a NAND off and we upgrade the NAND size, is it going to fuck it? And with the phones, it should not. I believe, based on what I'm thinking, I believe if you take an iPad with a non-blacklisted or non-iCloud locked information, if you take that and you write that serial number to a larger NAND, it should not affect it. Now, if you change the serial number and it doesn't match, the thing that is going to be is you would have to have a MAC address for the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and the serial number to match on a good known number, or a non-iCloud locked serial number. That may work. I don't have any here to test that. I wish I did, but I don't, unfortunately. So now I've got an iPhone 6s that has a 64 gig NAND. Whoop-de-doo. but that does confirm that you can still work on the NANDs on iPhones as long as they're not iCloud locked. As long as you're not trying to change anything, you can still upgrade the NAND size and it will still work. So I'm going to end this stream, but we do have some repairs that I can come back on and continue streaming with. I just want to kind of separate those two, that way when somebody looks for a video on this information, they don't have a bunch of extra stuff. But I will be right back. Give me about 5-10 minutes. I have to wait for the stream completely go down before I can put it back up, or it'll change the name of the old video, which is just annoying. So give me 5-10 minutes and I will be back. Actually, I might grab some lunch, so maybe about 30, but I will definitely be back on. We've got what looks to be a no power issue and 2 touch ICs to do. So simple stuff, but we can just chat about different things. But I will see you all in a minute. You're going to need another 12-step program. But I will see you all in maximum 30 minutes. Alright, see ya.